Hello guys, welcome to a Train Parrot. Did we invalidate the head and shoulders? Can we trust this rally? I want to talk about that. Today we are also gonna spend a little bit of time looking at what the whales are currently doing, review the Glassnode recent report. Pretty interesting things are coming up. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And if you feel like supporting the channel, watch this video until the very end and do not go anywhere without leaving a comment down below. Those two things are sending a strong message to the YouTube algorithm that this content is worth watching by more people. So thanks so much for that. If we look at the monthly chart, you can tell how much liquidity has been trapped on the lower end and how much on the higher end. Each of these weeks represent a strong rejection. And one of the things I see on the monthly chart is that we have had 2 consecutive months with very large weeks to the downside. And something that is new this month of August is that the current price of 61.3, the highest closing price of the all-time high of the previous cycle. Pretty significant level if you ask me. Of course, we need to get above that all-time high, reconquer that level. There's been multiple rejections trying to get above it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in a row, and we are on the 6th month. So whether this is going to be the month that we can get above it or not, we need to remember that historically the median is minus 6%, the average is 2% in August. Whereas September, both the average and the median are negative. A month that pretty much secures the profits is the month of October. But you know, there's always exceptions. I also wanted to have a look at the 2 months to see how we are doing. And the main reason is because we have this massive candle with a wick to the upside. That was the month of March. The size of this wick is over $12,000 to the upside, implying that here there was incredibly heavy selling pressure. This can be considered a pattern of a reversal. According to the 2-month chart, we should be going lower. Then the month of April became a candle of indecision. So far, we also have a candle of indecision, but this 2-month candle hasn't settled yet. There's still 17 days to settle it. And if we point to the downside, we can see that that week is $12,700. So it's slightly larger than this one is to the upside. And in my opinion, if we manage to close this 2-month candle in the green with a wick to the downside larger than the ones that we have to the upside, that should be interpreted as something positive. We had the rejection, we went lower to this level, and now we are having a rejection from the bottom to push us to higher levels. Let's have a look at the setup of the head and shoulders that I presented yesterday in the first video. One thing that is very important is the proportions. And the most important one is that the size of the shoulder shouldn't be larger than the size of the head. Otherwise, it's not a head and shoulder pattern. If I move the high of the left shoulder into this area in here, it's precisely the same high so far. So if you ask me whether this is already invalidated just because there was a bounce here at support, I will say if this is considered the left shoulder, this is the head, and we consider all of this the right shoulder, there's nothing broken. Even though some people might say that shoulder is at RSI 60 and the head was also at 60, I think that's wrong. This head reaches 66. When it comes to the price, I can see that we have the same structure. You can tell that this shoulder made it to all this level, the head is above the line, and this shoulder hasn't even made it to this area that could be considered the highest we can get in the right shoulder before invalidating. So yes, guys, the invalidation price for me for this shoulder is somewhere above 62K. So far, we are only seeing rejections from the monthly CPR level, which is located at 61.8. And on this peak, we made it to the mid pivot at 62.8. That 62.8 is a very interesting level because it contains the largest level of liquidation in the recent days, which is 62.8. It spans all the way to 63K. I think there's very high likelihood that we are gonna take that liquidation, just because we've been coming all the way from the bottom of 57 and we are already almost at 62, so leaving that liquidation level there untouched will be really rare. The liquidation level of 62.8 was formed in this area here when we made this high, and since then it's becoming larger since the amount of shorts that have opened throughout this range. Is there incentive above that level to go beyond? Yes, there are plenty of fair value gaps starting with 63.6, 65.7, and then all the way to 71k. On CoinGlass, you can see how close now we are getting to liquidate 62.1 and 63.4. On the order book, I'm not seeing anything significant on the top of the range on Binance perpetuals, but still the 47 to 46 remains loaded with liquidity. It sounds like they really want to buy the dip in case this crash all the way there. And I remind you that yesterday, when we calculated the target, if we were to break from here, it gave an RSI of 15, which coincides with the price today of 43k, very low. A few days ago, it was 45. But actually, we do need now to update this target because this is the high of the head. But if we were to fall somewhere around here and break down at 48, that will take us to 18 RSI at this point in time. So let's update the target from 15 to 18. And right now that's giving us 47k. Very conveniently, if we go to the swing trade on trading different, you can see that that is precisely where all the liquidation levels are located there. I'm not saying it's guaranteed that we go there, but on the daily, Bitcoin is running out of time to put a new high. We have this low, then a high, then this low in here. The next thing that must happen for Bitcoin to defend this bullish structure is to put a high somewhere in here. And at the moment, the RSI on the daily has spent 1, 2, 3 days teasing us with breaking below the yellow trend line and turning this whole bullish move towards the RSI of 56 into just a dead cat bounce. If it became a dead cat bounce from this high, reaching just the 50% retracement, it should give us a new low. And a new low on the RSI daily is pretty much guaranteed that it will go lower than the 50Ks. But so far, nothing is confirmed. Just like each and every day before today, we were always intra-candle below the support and then recovering right before closing the day. So this could be just another day where we see something very similar. Just as I'm recording, it seems that we got the results for the core CPI 0.2 with a forecast of 0.2, and the CPI is slightly lower the year on year than the forecast, 2.9 versus 3%. CPI report today, the inflation slows to 2.9 annual rate for the first time below 3%. Whether the real inflation is coming down or not, that's another thing, but typically these positive numbers tend to be interpreted by traders as maybe the chances of the interest rates coming down should now be higher since the inflation is coming down as well. As I promised, I wanted to look into what the whales are doing. We are living in a climate of expectations of monetary policy easing, and that potentially with the summer season coming to an end eventually could be the reason why the large whales, the ones holding over 10k Bitcoin, have already started their journey into accumulation. You can see that after June, they stopped the big selling, they went into just holding, and right now they are in heavy accumulation and they tend to lead the pack. The same in February in 2024, they were pretty much the first ones to start accumulating. Smaller pockets are a lot slower to take decisions, living in the fear. They end up accumulating way later when the price has already pumped. You can tell that they started accumulating over 60k, meaning that all the accumulation that they did here has been fluctuating between being in profit and out of the money. Whereas these whales that started accumulating in February should be right now still in the profit. If we look at the accumulation trend score also from Glassnode, you can see the darker areas which signify strong accumulation has already started even from the moment we were at 70K, meaning that they no longer care right now at what price Bitcoin is. They are accumulating. They did the same around here. They got wrecked, but they continue accumulating with every step down. So expect that even if the price comes down right now, this darker area in the chart is going to continue adding to their stack just because they think this is the right time to do it. And it won't matter what's the price because they have an expectation that the price is going to go higher. The total supply held by long-term holders has also shifted from distribution of almost 1,000 Bitcoin towards the all-time high into humble and then more aggressive recently accumulation. And we've been looking at the long short-term holder supply ratio for months. I have access to Bitcoin Magazine Pro, which is free. And if you remember, we were watching this being flat for many months. Just recently, with the end of July, they started aggressively pointing down, just like in other areas at bottoms of the market. And as I say, they not always get it right, but they get it a lot better than the short-term holders that are currently heavily selling. Let's have a quick look at the Megaphone pattern. You can see that the bull market support band is our resistance. We urgently need to overcome the bull market support band, turn it into support, and have another shot to the top of the range. We have already tried 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So hopefully this 4th time is going to be the one that takes us out of the Megaphone pattern, just like it happens in pretty much every cycle around the halving event. Sometimes, like during COVID, it took a lot longer, and there were actually 2 different Megaphone patterns, this breakout in here, and then COVID took us down, creating a larger Megaphone pattern. But the whole point is once we are above, we're off to the races. Price discovery, fun times, full-on bull market. Guys, I'm hosting a position airdrop event on Bybit. You trade with $100 and they give you additional $500 on your trade as long as you're trading these coins in the list. I left a link in the description that you have to activate, and it comes as well with the instructions. I also left you a referral link so you can open a new account on Bybit and claim up to 30,000 in rewards. With that new account on Bybit, you can join my Discord server and claim 70% off of any Trading Parrot subscription. If you already have from before a Bybit account, you can transfer to my referral with these instructions I left you and consider getting a Palau residence card so you can trade on Bybit from pretty much anywhere in the world, have access to leverage, trading bots, and a lot more. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.